Hi, if you have come back for this, the third series in this is the third Gospel of Thomas interpretation effort I've done. And this time I've taken it to the extreme of just rephrasing everything into plain language. So these videos are an effort on that. If you hitting this video for the first time and you wonder what I'm talking about, I'll post a link below to the first two videos that are going to lead up to this. I'm going to step right into the interpretation in this one. And what I'm going to suggest here, just to make it clear, is that this interpreted process that is nested in here is a way to enlightenment, no matter what material you use, whether it's Buddha, Lao Tzu, or Abrahamic material. It's containing the same core template that is a self-healing path. And there's a certain way to read all of them in the same way which extracts that. My name is Dan Paulson, and I'm going to be doing that in this, the third video of this series of the third time I'm interpreting the Gospel of Thomas. My name is Dan Paulson, and welcome to this video. All right, let's go ahead and just start with the interpretation then. I left off with verse 36 next, so let's go ahead and just get right into it. Jesus said, "Do not be concerned from morning until evening and from evening until morning about what you will wear." Okay, let's stop here and just refresh this. We're shifting these as analogs, okay? It is not about clothing, although it sounds that way. Don't be concerned about what you will wear all day and all night. I know somebody I've talked to who is religious, and I've asked them to interpret that, and they say that's about vanity. Don't think about your clothing and things like that. And that's not an interpretation. It's something that somebody can understand, but when you put it in the psyche, it's going to be more specific. When you're wearing garments, you're covering yourself. In the spiritual realm, which is really a mental realm, when you're covering yourself, what you're doing is hiding pain, shame, hurt, judgment, something like that is a part of you that is creating turmoil and hurt in your life. You're covered with something that is the things that we fear and that hurt us. That is what we're covering, and we're covering it in anger, shame, denial, phony actions. Oh yeah, everything's fine. How you guys doing? Meanwhile, inside you're like, oh, I'm seething. It's, I'm not feeling good. I put on a show. We tend to do that. Get on Facebook. Oh, everything's wonderful. I'm not on Facebook, but I know those kind of things happen. Okay, so let's go look at the verse again. Do not be concerned from morning until evening and from evening until morning about what you will wear. Don't be concerned all day long. I'm going to do this here. The green here, I'm doing a little bit differently in this. I just decided to do this. Green is my notes. Red is the reworked verbiage where I've rephrased the teaching, or rephrased it to the best of my ability right now into plain language. So analog interpretation, these only go in the psyche or point to personal life experiences once they are interpreted. What we wear in the mental realm is what we cover our inner selves in, our fears, shame, anger, desires, etc., covering up memories and feelings that are hurtful to us. This tells us in a familiar sounding manner to be in the now. I would say this: do not spend your days focusing on your hurt and fear. Now, this is something that I find that I want to make a comment here just from an interpretation standpoint. This is some of the weird stuff about the Gospel of Thomas. This is kind of like, it's a negative. They do negatives in here, double negatives. This is kind of like saying don't look at where you don't want to go, or something like that. And instead of saying, keep your eyes where you want to go, look where you wish to be. This is saying don't look where you don't want to be, which is weird. But they're trying to sound different than other material while still teaching the same thing. But you don't find stuff like that in other areas. The Gospel of Thomas has got a couple of wacko things in here that are just not common. All right, we're good with that then. Do not spend your days focusing on your hurt and fear. Yeah, be in the now is just a much easier way to say that, isn't it? It's, when you get somebody's attention on what they're not supposed to look at, they're going to look at it. When you get their attention on what they're supposed to, you point people where you want them to go. If you want them to, yeah. What is this like verbally? It's if we put it in modern terminology, both of them would work, but how do they sound? One of them, somebody might say, your kids are leaving and going home and driving across the state. And as they drive it off, you tell them, okay, don't get into an accident. Or you say, okay, be safe. What works? Both of them mean the same thing, but what sounds better? Okay, 37. His disciples said, "When will you become revealed to us, and when shall we see you?" Jesus said, "When you disrobe without being ashamed and take up your garments and place them under your feet like little children and tread on them, then you will see the Son of the Living One, and you will not be afraid." Okay, for my analog interpretation here, I have the disciples are our inner qualities. These are always necessary as part of the story, but as we go along and as we go through the Jesus material, that's what the disciples are. Like King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table are your inner qualities, or if you're getting ready to go on a voyage with Jason and the Argonauts, all the Argonauts represent qualities, different things that are coming along on the adventure. That's what the disciples are in the psyche. They represent our justice, our sense of fairness, our fear, even all of that. So when you become revealed to us, and when shall we see you? It's just a way of carrying the teaching. Somebody's got to ask it, right? What we're looking for is the answer. When you disrobe, okay, that means take off these things that we've covered us in, without being ashamed. Shame is what typically what we have covered ourselves in, and put them under your feet like little children. So now we're standing on top of them. We're elevated above them. Little kids haven't been hurt yet, and tread on them. We treat them like, yeah, it happened. Rape, molestation, all the things in my past as I'm growing up. I got to put that stuff to rest if I want to emerge beyond it. Then you will see the Son of the Living One. That is your happy self, the Son of the Living One. That would be your peaceful self, and you will not be afraid. Analog interpretation: disciples are our inner qualities, righteousness, fairness, etc. Jesus is who is using this as a template for seeking enlightenment or a change in the quality of one's life. Garments here are the same as last one, as in all Jewish material. What we cover our inner selves in. Living One is enlightened self. Inner qualities ask our consciousness-seeking self. What do we want to do to get there? Where are you? Answer: when we can let go of all the fear, pain, and shame and stand over them mentally, stripped of our spiritual garments, or rather our unresolved and hurtful memories and general state of how we view ourselves, then we gain control of life. All right, 38. Jesus said, "Many times have you desired to hear these words, which I am saying to you, and you have no one else to hear them from. There will be days when you look for me and will not find me." Okay, this is an interesting one. This is one about a resultant life experience. Cycles are in the background on this one. There will be days. Yeah, there's cyclical something going on there, plural. These words are what we need to heal, but at first you will continue to cycle unless self-observe and interrupt the repeating cycles. So this is almost there's kind of a version of time goes on. What's happening here is, let's see, this one is about resultant life experiences. Let me start again. Jesus said, "Many times have you desired to hear the words which I am saying to you." Okay, so we're going on in life and we want to know what the answer is. We are looking for a better life, but we don't know what to do. There's a certain kind of person that instead of just living their life goes, "God, why is it this way? Why? We are different. When we are living life, we're looking for that right there. And we don't know what to do. There's going to be days where you look for me and will not find me. So this right here is really holding the idea of time goes by, which is a common teaching. This one is about resultant life experiences. Cycle are in the background on this one. There will be days. The words are what we need to heal. But at first, we will continue to cycle unless we self-observe and interrupt the repeating cycles, which happens if we get to a point where we become the called person. If I were to rephrase it, it would be, we want to know this, but first, time will pass in life while we desire happiness, but will not find it. Yeah. And then I put, this appears to be as the time goes by element. The Enuma Elish has it in tablet 1 right in the beginning. There's an Anshar and Kishar. There's a development of our facets along the way. This is a very short one, but it says Anshar and Kishar, and so many days passed by, and so many years were counted, is the actual phrase in there. But that means that you start off in life, and then time goes by. And that's what this is telling us right here. Time goes by in life. We're seeking, but we don't get it. Now we're ready to find it. It doesn't say that part there, but okay. Jesus said, the Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge, gnosis, and hidden them. They themselves have not entered, nor have they allowed to enter those who wish to. You, however, be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves. Okay, this verse closely mimics two other verses in the Gospel of Thomas collection. Pharisees and scribes do not know this hidden knowledge. They live with the outer supernatural carrier or ark. They live on the outside shell of the life template teaching. So anyone teaching the Bible or Gospel of Thomas is some sort of spiritual, there's something in there without realizing this interprets to a mentally interactive process, like the Buddha's Dhammapada or the Tao Te Ching from Lao Tzu, works such as that, which are cryptic. This is cryptic too, just put in verbiage that makes it sound like a religion on the outside. So anyone teaching all of this material as true or something like that is referred to as the Pharisee, and the scribes follow them. So the Pharisees and the scribes, honestly, are Christians and Gnostics that are not teaching the template. So when you get to the template, you're looking at things differently. Yeah. And if you're on the outside, you still have Pharisees and scribes, so you feel like you're on the inside when you really are the carrier. The inside is the template. The keys of knowledge is this understanding. They don't know it and they don't teach it. They don't find the truth in it and so do not teach the truth from it. Let's read it again. The scribes and the Pharisees have taken the keys of knowledge. This is a secret teaching. They haven't really taken them. They don't know what they are, and hidden them. So this implies that someone has the knowledge, but they are not letting you know. They themselves have not entered. I guess, yeah, you wouldn't have. If you're hiding, if you know the truth, but you don't act it out, then you haven't entered it. You haven't followed it. You would realize, oh gosh, this is what's needed. Nor have they allowed to enter those who wish to. Yeah, you're not teaching. You're teaching, get on your knees, repent, love God. You're not teaching, turn inward, face your fears, resolve these issues. God is your higher self. Use that as your healing process. They're not teaching that, and not many people are going to get there. You, however, be as wise as serpent and as innocent as doves. So the serpents and doves are analogs that I'm not certain exactly what they mean. I'm going to move on here and describe it again, that it closely mimics other verses in the Gospel of Thomas. Let's go look at them. I said check verse 3 and verse 102. Remember right here it's saying the Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge. They don't know the secrets. Let's go look at 3 again. What was that? Jesus said, if those who lead you say to you, okay, so those are your people. There's your scribes and Pharisees right there. They didn't call them that, but they're the leaders. If those who say to you, if those who lead you say to you, see the kingdom is in the sky, they're teaching the material. Heaven is out there. Then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you it's in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty. I'm not going to pull up the Lao Tzu parallel. We get too much going on here. Okay, so there was one of them, and what was the other one? Verse number 102. This is one I've talked about before. This is why this is a good verse, and it's an important verse. It's about, this is the one that actually is copied from Aesop's fables, the dog in the manger. Jesus said, "Woe to the Pharisees, for they are like a dog sleeping in the manger of oxen, for neither does he eat nor does he let the oxen eat." So in the fable itself, in Aesop's fable, there's, let me just read it real quick. It's called The Dog in the Manger. A dog was lying in a manger on the hay which had been put there for the cattle. And when they came and tried to eat, he growled and snapped at them and wouldn't let them get at their food. So there's a dog lying on the food to the cows. They want to eat, they can't eat. "What a selfish beast," said one of them to his companions. "He can't eat himself, and yet he won't let those eat who wish to." So in this case, they've taken that and use that as an element to suggest that the Pharisee is like that what we want to eat is a spiritual thing. What we want to consume is the real knowledge of the material, but they have it. They don't have it. We're going to see that emerge elsewhere. But okay, let's move on. All right, let's just wrap it up, cover it again before we move on. Jesus said the Pharisees and the scribes, so these are your teachers. If I rephrase it, it's the preachers and the teachers do not know what is nested in here, and so they don't teach it. Be smart and true, or righteous or interactive with the functional teaching as you seek the path. Wise as serpents and innocent as doves. I defined it in that way simply because I put up there I wasn't quite sure what those meant, but in this case, sure, makes sense. You look for yourselves. You don't listen to somebody. You find what's in there on your own. Jesus said a grapevine has been planted outside the Father, but being unsound, it will be pulled up by its roots and destroyed. Grapes from the garden are good, figs are too, thistles are bad. The Father in this instance is the higher self. This roughly replicates first sin, exposure to life, and losing our childhood bliss and wonder. Read it again. A grapevine has been planted outside of the Father. We're young, we're infants. The grapevine is what has been planted first. We are this emergence. The Father is where we come from, this cosmic background, what we can connect with. We can connect with that. That's our higher self. When we were young, we didn't have the awareness, the cognitive skills to know that. Now we do. So being unsound, because we didn't have life experiences, it'll be pulled up by its roots and destroyed. So we've lost that childhood innocence. Grapes from the garden are good, figs too. There we go. Roughly replicates first sin. Do you see that? I would rephrase that to say we start pure and mentally innocent, but we lose that fast. Well, it depends. I guess I should just say we lose that and not necessarily fast. Okay, I'll change that. 41. Jesus said, whoever has something in his hand will receive more, and whoever has nothing will be deprived of even the little he has. Now, this one very directly relates to both the physical world and the inner, the mental, the spiritual, what we call spiritual, but is really a mental world that creates our spiritual experience. That what we have in our hand, you'll receive more. This would typically mean that people who are oriented towards having things continue to get things, and people who are oriented towards not continue to lose out, that there's a derive there. And that is true. But that happens, that's as within, so without. We're paying attention to what emerges. And if that is what emerges, that's what we need to know what is inside. I'm going to say here, remember, all of these are cryptic and all analogs. Treat them all the same way. We want to be empty, also known as poor in spirit. The fuller we are of unresolved experiences and a confusing life, the more we get that very same thing. We move towards more fullness as we get fuller of experiences. And I'll do a better job at making this sound okay. It's tough. It's spiritual. I mean, it's the kind of bizarre material. We lose our mental peace. Think the opposite of letting go. This is grasping on, and as we learn to let go, the more we seek to let go of as we reap the benefits. This is the opposite of fasting as to the world. Whoever has something in his hand will receive more. The more you pay attention to the world, the more stuff you get. Whoever has nothing, when you fast as to the world and you start getting rid of things, you will be deprived of even the little that you do have. It continues to go that direction and you let go more and more. So I've rephrased it as the more you cling, the more you will be clinging to more things. The more you let go, the more you will wish to let go. You'll be free. Again, these need to be probably rephrased better than that, but you see what I'm doing. This is a mental experience. Passing by means not grasping on. So that's become passers-by. Yeah, let go of things. Do not cling to life experiences. The more we cling, that's the problem. Become passers-by. Let go. This is mentally grasping on to things that we, inside your house, what's it like? Only you know. You can either hold it or not. You know what happens by holding it. Do you know what happens by letting it go? Passing by means not grasping on. I would rephrase it as do not cling to life experiences. His disciples said to him, "Who are you that you should say these things to us?" And again, these are setups. what we're looking for is what the answer is here. We're trying to learn something from it. You do not realize who I am from what I say to you, but you have become like the Jews, for they either love the tree and hate its fruit, or love the fruit and hate the tree. Okay, let's unravel this one. The teaching is Jesus' reply here. The Jews are the same as the Pharisees and the scribes. Anybody that is not who is this material for? This is for Gnostic Christians. They are separating from the Jews. So like the Jews made the Babylonians and the Egyptians the bad guys, here the Christians are making the Jews the bad guys. They're moving on from the past. So the Jews are the same as the Pharisees and the scribes. They don't understand it. That's on the template. They're referring to them. Refers to people on the outside of the esoteric knowledge and personal experiential use. The tree is a belief or a physical action. The fruit is the manifestation of that belief or the physical action. This means the uninitiated like the teaching, but not the results, or love the results and not the tree. Let's see. This means the uninitiated like the teaching, but they don't like the results or love the results, or they love the results and not the tree. This one unwinds simpler than what I'm saying here before we take the inner path. I hope so. We love the experience in a moment, but not the long-term results. Or we love the results, but not what it took to get there. So we might like to have fun and do things and adventure at the moment, and we pay the price later. So we like the fruits of that, but we don't like the long-term results. If we are, yeah, you wake up fresh in the morning and it's a good day and everything. We like that feeling, but how much of a struggle it is to not, go to bed at midnight after, drinking half a box of wine or something. Do we do we do the right thing to get where we want to? All right, I've rephrased that as before changing, we like the physical experience, but not its results, or we love the results, but not the work it took to get there. Yeah, we have to let a lot of things go. That one's a little tough to unwrap. I hope I didn't make it worse. Jesus said, whoever blasphemes against the Father will be forgiven, and whoever blasphemes against the Son will be forgiven. But whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either on earth or in heaven. This one's easy. It's a mental hierarchy. Father is the higher self. Son is conscious experience, and Holy Spirit is our inner self, or the bundle of emotionally stored experiences that we live through. Blaspheming, that is to deny or to ignore. Blaspheme is to deny or to ignore here. So this says, if we ignore our inner selves, we will not feel peace in our minds or in our life experience. We must address our inner selves, our Holy Spirit. It's really our memories. This is as within, so without. You can ignore your all of your existence, but it is from what is within inside of you, the Holy Ghost, that creates how your life emerges. Jesus said, grapes are not harvested from thorns, nor are figs gathered from thistles, for they do not produce fruit. A good man brings forth good from his storehouse. An evil man brings forth evil things from his evil storehouse, which is in his heart, and says evil things. For out of the abundance of the heart he brings forth evil things. We're known by our fruits. Cause and effect straight up with the quality of experience thrown in as well. This teaches us to self-observe while knowing that when bad comes from us, it is not from a good place, and when good comes from us, it's not from a bad place. To learn to observe the output emotions from experiences and use that awareness to seek inward to the source of the hurt, the seed. What emerges from us is what is within us. Let's read it again. Jesus said grapes are not harvested from thorns, so we don't produce good life experiences from bad stored away stuff. Nor are figs gathered from thistles. Same thing, yep, for they do not produce fruit. Thistles and thorns, yep, bad things. A good man brings forth good from his storehouse. However we act out in life is what we're about. The storehouse is me, where I store everything, my experience. An evil man brings forth evil from his evil storehouse. This doesn't mean people acting good and acting bad. If you want to interact with this, what this means is an enlightened Evil is a term that is before we are awake. An unawake individual brings forth unawake things from their unawake storehouse, which is in the heart. The heart is the feeling. The heart is really what? Do you want to interact with it? It's in the mind. And says evil things. For out of the abundance of the heart, he brings forth evil things. So this is mental process, and this is our own experience. This is you sitting there by yourself going, God, I just feel like crap. Right there, we are bringing evil out of our heart and experiencing that. We can't take it so personally that we can't understand that each of these is a mentally interactive step for the person that is on the path. It's not about the world out there. Cause and effect, straight up with quality of experience as well. This teaches us to self-observe while knowing that when bad comes from us, it is not from a good place, and when good comes from us, it's not a bad place. Yeah, just observe what emerges from us. So I rephrase that as we are known by our fruits. Or also what emerges from us is us. That's from within us. 46, Jesus said, among those born of women, from Adam until John the Baptist, there is no one superior to John the Baptist, that his eyes should not be lowered before him. Yet I have said, whichever one of you comes to be a child will be acquainted with the kingdom and will be superior to John. Okay. We must know who John the Baptist is before this verse can be interpreted from at least one of the canonical Gospels. Born of women means qualities we have taken on through judged life experiences. This is the unawake self, living blindly, in sin, in evil. Those are tough analogs, but it just means that we are living through our judgments and how we hold those emotionally. We're living blindly through our life experiences. John represented the physical past. When he baptized Jesus, that was symbolic of crossing a threshold. Jesus moved on from John like Moses moved on from Pharaoh, or like our called self moves on from our very hard-trying past self. We have to go from, God, I really want to do this, to, okay, now I'm doing it. We become something different. But to become as a child, that's that 7-day child reference that we continue to come up with, will be superior. That is prior to being, to judging life, becoming a product of our memories that are hurtful. We're disconnected. As John, we were only wishing to be. So John is like our early self that wants to move on, and then Jesus is the part of us that is now moving on and doing the actual healing and work. That is the called self. If you were to read Jason and the Argonauts, King Pelias is the one, not in this story, but who has control of the kingdom that Jason has to go back and get. That same thing is transitioning here. John represents Pelias, the past, and Jesus and Jason both represent the now we're called, ready to move on. So 46, among those who live through your life experiences, you should observe the part of you that is ready to go for a life change. Whoever lets everything go will become pure or empty. Okay, learn to recognize what is not John. Learn to recognize what is your higher being. Among those who live through your life experiences, when you're living life experiences day to day, there are times where you are hurting. There's times where you're living through things you don't know how to deal with or can't deal with. And you're, but there's another part of you that is detached, that, you need to move towards that. Yet I have, so let me read it again. Number 46, start at the beginning. Jesus said, among those born of women, from Adam until John the Baptist, for all of those who are born of women means that we are products of our life experiences. We're born of women instead of the higher self. From Adam until John the Baptist, there is no one. Yeah, so that's always that case right there. All right, let's move on to 47. I've got it broke up a little bit here. Jesus said, it is impossible for a man to mount 2 horses or to stretch 2 bows, and it is impossible for a servant to serve 2 masters. Otherwise, he will honor the one and treat the other contemptuously. No man drinks old wine and immediately desires to drink new wine. And new wine is not put into old wineskins lest they burst, nor is old wine put into new wineskins lest it spoil it. An old patch is not sewn onto a new garment because a tear would result. There's a parallel in Luke 5:33. I'm not going to cover it. Okay, let's go through them all. It's a multi-step thing going on here as well as in a few other places in Jesus' material. In that case, it's something about Pharisees and washing hands. In this case, it's about leaving the past behind. In this case, we got the same thing. We cannot live two ways of being. A seeker cannot be divided between our wishes and our actions. We will emotionally cycle. We also have to resolve the things that we don't want to resolve. As long as we've got a part of us that we don't want to deal with, we are divided against ourselves. No man drinks old wine and immediately desires to drink new wine, and new wine is not put into old wineskins, lest they burst, nor is old wine put into the new wineskin, lest it spoil. We become this style of verse. The seeker is the man. Wine is the way we feel in life. We are the wineskin, our mind. First, we drink of or live our old life. We do not wish a new one for many years to come. So I am a wineskin, and I have an old life. When I'm ready to change, we can't just change our life and mind. You can't just say, damn it, I'm done with this, what I'm going to go and leave it all behind and go move somewhere else and have a different life. There's going to be things that we've got unresolved that we're bringing with us that we don't know. They're not going to show up. We're going to feel good and go, yep, I've left that behind. Then you're going to be there for a while and it's going to come back because you brought it with you and you went to a place where it'll get triggered. Without resolving the past, our desired changes will be ruined or cause us further grief. An old patch is not sewn into a new garment because a tear would result. It's the same thing. We are the garment. Patch is a covering. We cannot bring our past to the future or it will destroy our life. We want a new garment. We want a new wineskin. Let's read this as I've rephrased it here. We cannot be divided in choice or in mind. At first, we live life unaware that we are judging it and only later wish to change. When that happens, to move ahead, one must resolve all the past which we drag around, or our new life will become hurt by the past which is left in place and not resolved. We think we hide it, but it will get triggered and emerge. 48. Jesus said, if two make peace with each other in one house, they will say to the mountain, move away, and it will move away. We are the house. Each other is our bundle of memories and our conscious experience. What do we have stored away versus how we live life and how we feel? Do they always match? When they do, the mountain becomes analogous for life's issues. So if I rephrased it, it would be, if we can make full-time mental peace with our inner self, resolving all those things you've got hidden away is what that means, then life flows easy as we allow it to gently and effortlessly move along with our peaceful inner self. Jesus said, blessed are the solitary and elect, for you will find the kingdom, for you are from it, and to it you will return. Okay, blessed means peaceful and free. Solitary and elect to me is the brain type indicator. I don't think they knew brain types, but they could observe personalities and that some people were different. Reflective, had a larger scope of awareness. They stayed out of the main crowds who were chattering about life's issues. The kingdom is the free mental space, like nirvana, Eden, the inner peace we seek to feel. We emerge feeling free. We will return. We emerge in life in the beginning, feeling free, but we want to return to feeling free. All right, 49, to rephrase it, would be free and peaceful are the few who will seek this. You came from mental freedom, and to it you shall return. Blessed are the solitary and elect. Free and peaceful are the few who will seek this, for you will find the kingdom. You came from mental freedom, and to it you shall return. For you are from it, and to it you shall return. You will find that peace. Okay. It just harkens back to early life again. There's going to be a lot of repeated here. Okay, I'm skipping number 50 right here. I've got to get back to this one. There's some things I can't quite unwrap yet. What have I got? There's something not quite. I'll have to keep looking at some of these. I also want to say that there's different interpretations, that these are interpreted by different people quite radically. Anyway, and they're not necessarily complete. There's some pieces missing. Okay, 51. His disciples said to him, "When will the repose of the dead come about, and when will the new world come?" He said to them, "What you look forward to has already come, but you do not recognize it." Okay, repose is rest. Dead is any of us while we are living unaware that we are simply living through our physical observations, or rather our judgments of what we have seen. We're not awake yet and pulled back. We haven't let go of things. We're living through that. We're living dead. We have not accounted for cause and effect and are very connected with our ego and the judgments of life. New world is our new life experience once we heal. The question hints towards a new world for believers, yet they are told what they look forward to is already here and that they don't seek it. This should sound like parts of verse 3 without the leaders. Yeah. Look forward to has already come. Yeah, the birds will precede you. The fish will precede you. What you look for is already here right now. Is remember that how that goes? Okay. I would rephrase that as when are we to be reborn? And he said, everything you seek is here right now, and you don't see it. His disciples said to him, 24 prophets spoke in Israel, and all of them spoke in you. And he said to them, you have omitted the one living in your presence and have spoken only of the dead. Okay, I don't know what the 24 prophets who spoke in Israel means. There's a lot of prophets. I'm sure there's something specific there. I'm not that concerned with it. But we'll go on and interpret this and see why. All of them speaking in you would be more accurate like this. Prophets were the same as gurus, like Buddhas or Lao Tzu's, all teaching the mystery. So this would be more like all gurus share one mind, and that means a style of emptiness and not one physical awareness. Let me read up the top again. 24 prophets spoke in Israel. Israel is the past. It's a land. Israel is the past. Israel is the Jews. 24 prophets spoke in the past, and all of them spoke in you. They're emerging on, and this is saying there's one mind, there's one mental awareness. All gurus share one mind, and that means a style of emptiness and not one physical awareness. It's sharing a mind type. This points to the past, but Jesus tells them the one in your presence is the one in your own head. Turn to that one and don't worship the dead. You can be a prophet too. Remember, that's a sage, guru, enlightened being, someone who found inner peace and more. 52, you have your only real guru living within you right now. Turn to that. This is like, don't listen to the people outside. Turn inward to your guru. That's the one that you live with. All right, 53. His disciples said to him, is circumcision beneficial or not? He said to them, if it were beneficial, their father would beget them already circumcised from their mother. Rather, the true circumcision in spirit has become completely profitable. That's bizarre. All right, circumcision is an analog developed in Genesis. Day 7 is a critical teaching, and I've covered that a lot. After day 7 comes first sin. Life experience changes from our physical naked state, where we're not covered with anything, to a covered in judgment garments, covered in garments of judgment. Life goes bad. This is one day after day 7. This is the same as first sin right after day 7. We have life experiences and store them in our brains. If you'll notice, you're supposed to become circumcised in Jewish material on day 8. Yep, that's when you start picking up things. Okay, we have life experiences and store them in our brains. This analog says what we procreate with has offspring. What we experience continues to emerge. Circumcision refers to a mental state, a state where we stop creating offspring from our physical experiences. We pull back. We stop judging the world. This teaching takes it away from Jewish preferences, but I agree with this one. We evolved with foreskins, and Jesus encrypts that here. What does he say? If it were beneficial, their father would beget them already circumcised from their mother. If we're supposed to be circumcised, we'd be born that way. But rather, true circumcision in spirit. Spirit, mind. We have to change spirit to mind. We cannot interact with and change spirit. We can interact with and change mind, which changes the way spirit feels. So I would rephrase it like this: is it good to circumcise? And he replied, if it was beneficial, we'd have been born that way. The true meaning is a spiritual one. We need to stop judging life experiences and step back. Stop producing new offspring. 54, Jesus said, blessed are the poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. This is spiritually poor, which means mentally devoid of clinging. Kingdom of heaven is a state of being that we seek for enlightenment, like nirvana, holy land, Canaan, etc. So I would rephrase that to happy feelings for you who have let go of your judgments. Okay, this next one I just dialed in today, number 55. It's got those double negatives in there. It takes a bit to unwrap it. Whoever does not hate his father and his mother cannot become a disciple to me, and whoever does not hate his brothers and sisters and take up his cross in my way will not be worthy of me. So what I do is I have to rephrase these. A lot of these, when they're simple, you just do it in your mind, you learn to do it. This will eventually be something that you just do it in your mind, but right now it's like, whew, that's thick. What does that mean? So I just want to rephrase it. What I've wrote down here in my notes is that double negatives need to be rephrased to interpret. It would sound like this. And in this case, what we have in this verse is a father and mother is a mental hierarchy for everyone. It is the conscious and the subconscious. It's an analog from a patriarchal society, and most are. The father tells the mother and she obeys. That's the teaching. In reality, what's happening on the template, the conscious, everybody's conscious decides the emotion of the memories, and the subconscious obeys. That is our conscious self telling our inner being, what we make it what it is by judging our experience. Living this is living through it, embracing it. And the brothers and sisters are other people teaching their cross or way of understanding. They are the preachers, Pharisees, scribes, etc. They don't know the way. They are looking to the sky. We need to look inward. Let's read it again, number 55 in black. Jesus said, whoever does not hate his father and his mother, whoever loves his father and mother, can't follow me. And whoever loves his brothers and sisters and follows them and what they teach isn't worthy. I rephrase that to whoever lives through their conscious and subconscious cannot find this path, and whoever believes and follows the teachings of others looking outward will not find this path. Okay? 56. Jesus said, whoever has come to understand the world has found only a corpse, and whoever has found a corpse is superior to the world. This is a teaching verse. The world is my world, or my experience in this world. Whoever's come to understand the world. I need to understand my life experience in the world. Corpse is someone who lives life simply connecting blindly to what is out there. We've talked about it already. Someone who is dead, someone who has not been alive. This is the same thing. A corpse is somebody who has not been alive. It's somebody that's just a product of our judged life experiences. And we continue to make it bigger by not resolving it, by stewing over it. We all start out as a corpse and are not alive. That's because we're just living life, judging the life experiences. We are becoming a product of effect, not cause. So we are becoming a part of a process. We're in a wave. We're emerging from there. Okay, so what this is saying is that, and if I were to rephrase it in 56, it's once we understand how life works, cause and effect and cycles, and that we become a product of that we realize we are products of and continuing to live through those life experiences. And once we realize this, we have turned a corner that few ever will. Whoever has come to understand the world has found only a corpse. That means I have discovered that I am dead. And whoever has found a corpse, I've discovered I'm dead, is superior to the world, because now I know that that's what happened. I can make a change. Okay, Jesus said, number 57 here, the kingdom of the Father is like a man who had good seed. His enemy came by night and sowed weed among the good seed. The man did not allow them to pull up the weeds. He said to them, I am afraid that you will go intending to pull up the weeds and pull up the wheat along with them. For on the day of the harvest, the weeds will be plainly visible, and they will be pulled up and burned. Okay, as I read through this, what I find that really the important line, the teaching line, is just the last one. For on the day of the harvest, the weeds will be plainly visible, and they will be pulled up and burned. The way it would translate in the psyche, if we were to do it, the kingdom of the Father, that's this where our life experience is. Yes, the kingdom of the Father is my life experience. Is like a man who had good seed. So it starts off really good. But my enemy came. The enemy is life experiences, me judging them. That is what hurts me. My judged life experiences. I get judged by those over and over again. His enemy came by night and sowed weeds among the good seed. So now I have life experiences planted in my garden among the good things. But I did not allow them to pull up the weeds. He said to them, I'm afraid you will go intending to pull up the weeds and pull up the wheat along with them. Which is, I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't know how you could go in and pull out bad memories and accidentally pull out good memories and good experiences too. So all of a sudden, this one kind of falls apart as I do the interpretation. I'm afraid you will go intending to pull out the bad stuff, and you will get the good stuff with it. I'm not sure how that works. Lobotomy? I don't know. Were they trepanning? Okay. This is what's important. For on the day of the harvest, the weeds will be plainly visible, and they will be pulled up and burned. This means that a lot of times we don't know what our problems are. We don't. We have problems, and we don't know what they are. When they emerge, when they come up, we have to be observant. We have to watch them. That's when they are visible, and they'll be pulled up and burned. For on the day of the harvest, when it's time for these to, they've been sown, and now it's time to reap them. The kingdom of the Father is the world we inhabit, but it's mental. This is our life experience. Weeds are life experiences that are not good. Wheat means good crop or good life experiences. Enemy is life experiences that hurt us. Weeds are the results of those. This story is telling us we can't always resolve what is wrong unless it emerges first. That's what I got, 58, Jesus said, blessed is the man who has suffered and found life. And this almost seems like it's inevitable. The person who goes on the path does so because they are hurt. But most people are hurt in some way and never do resolve it. They are not blessed. Those never hurt will never need it. They're already happy. So this says, blessed are you if you found a way out of your hurt. Blessed is the man who has suffered and found life. Blessed is the person who found a way out of your hurt. Jesus said, take heed of the living one while you are alive, lest you die and seek to see him and be unable to do so. Okay, so the reference here is God. However, God is an analogous term for the higher self. We engage with that part of our mind to face our inner fears and pains if we're using this material. If we think we're going to wait till we die to engage with whatever God is, it's not going to work, we're being told here. This easily translates into a religious-sounding verse. It can be interpreted at a shallow level and be thought to simply mean to become a believer now because when you die it's too late. This means something different and is more interactive. The living one is the higher awareness. We are connected there when all is well. And it's us in our enlightened state as well. And we're feeling happy and fine. So you see, that's an enlightened state of being. We just don't know it. We're connected there and all is well. Yep, we just don't know it. We seek to live from here. It is our core from birth. When here, we're not feeling our past or emotions from them, our hurt. Alive is living from there. When we die, we shift into living through our past memories as we get triggered and act out. So this says, take heed of the living one while you are alive. I've got beware when you're living through the higher self that you're doing exactly that. Then up above it says, lest you die and seek to see him and be unable to. I've translated, when we shift into living through our memories, we struggle to get to our higher self. Yeah. Our detached feeling self. That's where we're not caught up. We're just in the moment. We're just, okay, we're happy. Yeah. All right. So let's look at it one more time. 59. Take heed of the living one while you're alive, lest you die and seek to see him and be able to do so. I've got be aware when you're living through the higher self that you're doing exactly that. When we shift into living through our memories, we struggle to get back to our detached feeling self. It's teaching us we got something going on. Okay, 60, I've got, return to this one. It seems familiar with, but the analogs are somewhat unique. I want to talk about it just a little bit. It sounds like somebody's carrying, the lamb is usually in Jewish material a good thing. So it's a Samaritan carrying a lamb on his way to Judea. He's gonna eat it, but there's a round about the lamb. This almost sounds like someone's carrying a burden, but the lamb is not typically a burden, but in this case it sounds like it is. And they said to him so that he can kill it and eat it. And he said to them, while it's alive, he will not eat it, but only when he has killed it and it has become a corpse. Okay, so this one is going to be, it sounds like the weeds in the crop, doesn't it? It is, he's got to kill it and eat it. While it's alive, he will not eat it. So while the crops are growing, you're not going to pluck them. When he has killed it and it has become a corpse, he will. When it arises, when it is harvested, we can pluck it out. We can't do so otherwise. So then it says, you too look for a place for yourself within repose. Look for a peaceful place, or else you become a corpse and be eaten. If you're a corpse, then you're just living through yourself. Yeah, that's a strange one. The next one's fragmentary, 61. Jesus said, two will rest on a bed, the one will die and the other will live. And Salome said, who are you, man, that you, and then that's missing, there's have come up on my couch and eaten from my table. I tend to recognize these as setups, that Jesus, whatever the response is what you're looking for. I am he who existed from the undivided. Yeah, we are unity, aren't we? We want unity. We want our inner beings combined. And I didn't mean inner beings there. I meant the inner being and our conscious experience combined. That when we're living life, not paying attention, sitting alone or in experiences with other people, that we are not living through something that makes us have anger or fear or regrets or anything like that. I was given some of the things of my Father. That one, boy, I'm not quite sure. I mean, we live from our higher self. That's what we want. I am your disciple. Yeah, there's pieces missing in here I don't want to touch because it's just too fragmentary. There is something here, though, that sounds vaguely familiar. Therefore, I say, if he is destroyed, he will be filled with light. But if he is divided, he will be filled with darkness. And that kind of sounds down here like Jesus said, if one who knows the all still feels a personal deficiency, he is completely deficient. And what does this one say? He will be filled with life, but if he is divided, he will be filled with darkness. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that one. It's not completely intact. Okay, on to 62. Jesus said, it is to those who are worthy of my mysteries that I tell my mysteries. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I don't know if hand in parentheses there is added in. Do not let your left know what your right is doing. The hands, I'm not sure of the way it's being used here. But let me move on. Only some people are going to understand and go after this material. It will only be understood by the few, and you must go after it and seek it on your own. Left and right hand reference is one I don't quite have figured out. Casting pearls is possible parallel. And that means that if you're using it, the material in one way, don't let the people who are using it in the other way know about it. How do I have that worded here? Only a few will understand the secret teaching. It will be revealed to you as you seek it. Do not let the carriers of this material know what you are finding as its real purpose. They might not like it. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't get any grief from anybody. It's It's a secret teaching. It is. We're looking for esoteric understanding in the midst of all kinds of exoteric beliefs. Okay. Jesus said there was a rich man who had much money. He said, I shall put my money to use so that I may sow, reap, plant, and fill my storehouse with produce, with the result that I shall lack nothing. Such were his intentions, but that same night he died. Let him who has ears hear. Okay, this be it one's physical or mental storehouse. Really, it's what you have upstairs or your own storehouse, but always within first, right? It is the mind, focusing on never running out. We're always putting stuff in, never fasting is to the world. One day we die while always working to prepare for death, while not living for today. So I've rephrased that to live life in and for the now. We don't know when our end will be. 64. Jesus said, a man had received visitors, and when he had prepared the dinner, he sent his servant to invite the guests. He went to the first one and said to him, my master invites you. He said, I have claims against some merchants. They are coming to me this evening. I must go and give them my orders. I asked to be excused from the dinner. He went to another and said to him, my master has invited you. And he said to him, well, I just bought a house and I'm required for the day. I shall not have any spare time. So he went to another and said to him, my master invites you. And he said to him, my friend is going to get married and I'm to prepare the banquet. I shall not be able to come. I asked to be excused from the dinner. Then he went to another and said to him, my master invites you. But he said to him, I have just bought a farm, and I am on my way to collect the rent. I shall not be able to come. I asked to be excused. The servant returned and said to his master, those whom you invited to the dinner have asked to be excused. And the master said to his servant, go outside to the streets and bring back those whom you happen to meet so that they may dine. Businessmen and merchants will not enter the places of my Father. Okay, the places of my Father is my mind. What do we have going on here? A man received visitors. Visitors are our life experiences held in our memory. When we seek to nurture them, they co-develop with distractions we live through. They do not come to partake of our serving and wishes. This is another way of saying that we're losing touch with our early selves, that we are not staying happy, that the qualities we have we have lost them. We do not want them to partake of our serving and wishes. The end right here is really the lesson to learn, unless there's anything hidden up in there that I'm not catching. Businessmen and merchants will not enter is parallel to Jesus throwing money changers and animals out of the temple. Remember that story where Jesus is, it's for the Passover, and he goes there and there's people, exchanging money and selling animals and stuff, which makes absolute perfect sense, honestly. I got this from Bart Ehrman material. They're coming there for Passover. They're coming from far away. They're not bringing animals, and they have money from somewhere else. So they have to exchange money and then buy animals in order to participate in the Passover. So he's like slamming a Jewish holiday by doing this. But if we look at it metaphorically, the temple is the mind, and throwing out all of the things is the same thing as here. We're throwing out all of the stuff that isn't there. The story's big, and like I said, there may be something else nested in there that I'm not seeing. So I rephrased it, rid life's distractions. Throw the bad parts out. 65. He said there was a good man who owned a vineyard. He leased it to tenant farmers so that they may work it, and he might collect the produce from them. He sent his servant so that the tenants might give him the produce of the vineyard. They seized his servant and beat him, all but killing him. The servant went back and told his master. Well, the master said, perhaps he did not recognize them. So he sent another servant. The tenants beat this one as well. Then the owner sent his son and said, perhaps they will show respect to my son. But because the tenants knew that it was he who was the heir to the vineyard, they seized him and killed him. Let him who has ears hear. Okay, anyone is the good man. The vineyard is our mind. Tenant farmers are the people that we've given it out to in our past. That's who's taken over from us. Those are life experiences. We live life unaware of judging. Yet we want what emerges in our life experience to be ours anyway. We're not getting it. We have cyclical pain portrayed here. It's a three-peat of trying to get your inner mind back and failing. In the end, this one, we lost. Let him who has ears hear. Yeah, they seized and killed him. You going after your past just failed miserably. And the past said, yeah, up yours. We're in charge. So I've simply rephrased that as something like, when we work to get back to our early, detached from emotional hurt selves, it will cycle in failures along the way. Yeah, when we try to go back, we're going to struggle. It's going to be a struggle. Now, if you're following along, you should be spotting kind of a pattern. These verses kind of go together. There's a few that kind of sound different, but they interpret kind of the same way. They're close together. So you can see that they're building up a teaching foundation here and experimenting with different analogous verbiage. Okay, the next one is 66. Jesus said, "Show me the stone which the builders have rejected. That one is the cornerstone." Okay, the stone is something foundational in this case. It's the same as a seed or a memory with emotion. It's where something begins from. We are the builder of our inner structure. That's through our thinking. We are products of our thinking. We are unaware of this, though. There is a worst, first, or some sort of bad experience, and everything else stemmed from there. If we look back on our life, something went bad and something, and if we go back, there's a point where something started going bad. What is, or the worst of something that is so severe that it blocks everything else out? Maybe it wasn't the first, but it was so severe. You know, maybe you stole cookies when you were a kid and you feel guilty about it, but then later on you stole, money from grandma or something like that. It's like, oops, I don't know. I'm just trying to make comparisons here. Those are not my experiences. Trying to come up with some sort of way of thinking about it. It's whatever it is in you that bothers you. What is the worst we hold inside of us? That is the cornerstone for our bundle of memories. It could have been something, I don't want to make light of it. Being raped, molested, doing things like that we just have guilt and shame over, or hurt, judgments, anger, hatred. Anyway, these are also referred to as building or temple or world or field or kingdom, etc., etc. And basically, we frame our mental psyche from there. Rejecting is ignoring. So, show me the stone which the cornerstones have rejected. Show me the hidden fears that we don't like to look at. That one is the cornerstone. That's the basis for our being. We have to get that. You know that big one inside that you don't want to deal with? You get that, watch how easy everything else is. You're going to want to clear out the whole place. 67, Jesus said, "If one who knows the all still feels a personal deficiency, he is completely deficient." Okay, for the one who learns how and desires to heal on this path, if you feel anything wrong, you feel completely wrong. Here's a metaphor I have that kind of illustrates this. Take 2 glasses of water. One is pure from a fresh spring. It's delicious and pure. It holds health and life. The other is scooped out of a holding tank in a cattle yard. It's dirty and full of nasty things we don't wish to drink. It's swimming around in there. It holds sickness and death. Pour a small amount from the dirty glass into the clean one. Is it still pure? Are they both trashed? We feel that at the level of emotion. Gospel of Philip, Jesus cleaned out the whole place, while others did it only partially. I would change this to something like, once the seeker knows what to do, they will pursue their hurt till it hurts no more. They will never feel pure, even if only holding small things. They want to resolve it. All right, again, over an hour long. These take a while, don't they? You can see talking them through, and it's not just saying, here's what I think it is, but here's why I think it is, and here's how it works out. I think that's how we figure these out, is we have to do it that way, but we have to do it in our own minds. Listening to somebody else do it doesn't do anything to resolve our issues. None of this material works until we make it ours. That's why we don't follow other people. If you follow other people, you're doing that. If you're following yourself, you're like, man, got to turn inward. I got to resolve this. I can't shed this. I relinquish it and it's not gone. What am I going to do? I'm going to turn inward. It's a different process, and it's not for many people. And you can see that it becomes at once starkly repetitive and starkly simple. These are analogous terms that just roll all over the place, that are carrying this very similar idea. Here, I use this one all the time. It comes from the Bible, but I've got this one almost memorized, or close enough anyway, that if you want to have a good life, but you've got issues, it's not going to happen. Here's how this material seems to interpret, doesn't it? Here's how we hear in the Bible, that if you come to the altar to leave a gift, and while you're there, you remember that you have aught against your brother, go set your gift down, go resolve the ought first. Then after that, come back and give your gift, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you in secret. So the reason you're at an altar giving a gift is because you want a better life. You want graces. Help, please. Thank you. Something. We're looking for better life. Don't even do that if you remember you've got issues. Go resolve those issues, and then life will happen automatically. It is nested in there in our face. We haven't engaged with the actual healing yet. How is it that you use your higher self with your conscious and your memories all working in conjunction to start making that fear diminish? That's, knowing the material is one thing. Knowing how to engage with the material is something else. Then you have to sit in, even then it doesn't matter. Then you have to go sit quietly someplace, take your memories and that knowledge and mentally engage in your own mind. Not until then does it become real. Everything else up to that point is academic. Once we start getting through the barriers and they come down and we can talk and say, hey, I got molested, where before it was like, oh my God, I'll never tell anybody this. They will think, there's a point where we build up such incredible fears that we are our enemies in life. But you can't just go around talking to people about that. They don't want to hear it. It's a tough thing. So it's an individual process. It's tough, and it requires, a couple people getting together that can figure this out, that understand what's going on. They can talk to each other and come through it. So find your friends wherever you are. Find people on this path. Get people on this path with you. All right. Yeah. Long video, huh? What am I about? About 3/4 of the way through or something like that. 2/3. So, hopefully this video went faster than the previous ones, and it's starting to make sense if it seems out there. All right. It's theoretical. To me, it's mentally interactive. And if you do what is there, it changes your life, and it changes your experience in life. It does. It absolutely works. You have to engage with it, though. You don't pray about it and wait. You got to do something. Then the future changes based on what you do now. All right. Take care. See you in the next video.